Hello, Joe 508, and thanks again for another stellar job in the discussion board. Special thanks going out to Lisa and Hiram. They were our discussion leaders. A lot of great opinions about exercise and natural ways to go after things, and kind of an agreement that we rely a little bit too much in our society on pharmaceuticals. One thing I posted, and I think it'll be true, and history books will look back on this era, this time that we're all living in, and they'll kind of scoff at how overly pharmaceuticalized we were. Way too much, okay? Because the discovery just says, well, do it, and then people go after it, and then, oh yeah, there's side effects and stuff like that. But anyways, okay. So now we leave the realm of the supposed normal aspects of aging, and we're going to go into lots and lots of diseases. And the obvious choice to start with is cardiovascular disease, and it's the numero uno. It's amazing that we've been actually whittling away at it in terms of extending the lifespan and more knowledge about what causes things, so we can alter our lifestyle choices and things like that. But still number one in terms of cause of death in industrialized countries like the United States. Okay, it's driven by what's now being referred to as metabolic syndrome, where it's a combination of things. Usually they come together, and people that have diabetes, they have hyperlipidemia, they have way too much LDL, they have inflammation, and then a cascade of events that cause ultimately problems in just about every organ system. Renal disease, liver disease, gastrointestinal problems. It doesn't matter. The cardiovascular system, when you're not delivering the goodies and taking away the garbage, you're going to run into trouble. Like I said before, most people believe that Alzheimer's disease is in some ways linked to cardiovascular problems and inflammation. So, okay, so just remember that that these are the key parts. High blood sugar, insulin receptor insensitivity, hyperlipidemia. You guys, as practicing clinicians, that's what I'm going to call you, because you guys are all out there on the front lines, healthcare practitioners. You should know your numbers absolutely. The expectation of what is the right LDL, the right HDL, it's the LDL-HDL ratio, the triglycerides. Okay, you should know all these numbers and have a good expectation for your clients. As an occupational therapist, you should know this. Okay, because it'll help you understand the medication that they're on, and that's the other thing, of course, that you need to understand. What medication are they on? Blood thinners, hypertension medication. All of your clients are going to be on these different types of meds, and so you got to be up on that. You're going to learn about consequences of the blood vessels having such radical disease processes, the atherosclerosis, and that's consequent again to the inflammatory response. That when you cut off the blood supply, of course, what's going to happen. So you're going to have ischemia, okay? And ischemia means basically you have formed a cork in the blood vessels, and so everything on the other side of the cork no longer gets glucose, no longer gets oxygen, and they die. And that's ischemic. It's cell death, and it usually results ultimately in necrosis, followed by a later form of cell death called apoptosis. Okay, so if somebody has an infarct, okay, and again, that's what an infarct means, is when the cork is formed. Ischemia can be caused by lots of different things, but the infarct is the cork. Hopefully I said that right the first time. If not, I'm correcting myself. So during the first 3 hours, it's absolutely crucial after any type of a heart attack or stroke that's due to this type of infarct. You need to go in and do something to eradicate the clot. And the drug of choice is tissue plasminogen activator, or TPA, and it gets in there, and it's a digestive agent. It acts enzymatically. It stimulates the body's own enzymatic system to go ahead and get rid of the clot. So that's numero uno. And again, like I said, you're going to have clients who are going to be on the blood thinners as well. Okay, and so you should be aware of that. The heparin, the warfarin, the Coumadin. These are common drugs that your clients are going to be on. When the heart begins to die off, okay, because of the blood vessels, it doesn't pump as well, okay. It's a slow degenerative process, and consequent to that, you get congestive heart failure, okay. And it's just the blood is congesting because the pump doesn't work as well, okay. It's like a freeway that doesn't flow as well anymore, okay. You get congested traffic, or you get congested blood in your vessels when the heart just doesn't pump as well. And when it congests in the lungs, unfortunately, all the water that is in the plasma will come right out of the blood, okay, and the lungs act like a sponge, and they suck up the water, and you basically drown in your own fluids. So now you have water over the surface of the lobules in your lung instead of a nice mucousy contact with air, and so you can't breathe anymore. And so, like I said, you're drowning in your own fluids. So you got to take steps then, both through diet and through drugs. We have ACE inhibitors, and the most common drug that's used is the diuretic, which is Lasix, and it basically makes you pee out your fluid, and then the sponge will then go in the opposite direction, and if there's not enough fluid in the blood, osmotically the water will come sucking out of your lungs and go back into the blood. Okay. Know your diagnostic tools, okay? Non-invasive, an electrocardiogram. Usually combine that with a stress test. You're just looking for changes in heart rhythm, heartbeat. What else are we going to do? A really great tool is the echocardiogram. Again, this is totally non-invasive. It's just ultrasound, and you can get actually a real good feeling for the physiological rhythm of the heart, the workings of the heart, changes in the shape of the heart, changes in valves and things like that. It's really, really great. If you suspect that there is a problem, then you're going to have to find the blood vessel maybe that has had an infarct, okay, where there's an occlusion, or maybe it hasn't completely occluded, but it's really damaged. So you're going to use nuclear chemistry there, and you're going to nuclear radiation. You're going to do a contrast agent, okay, it's iodine, and when you use iodine, when you hit the heart with the x-rays, okay, which is what a CAT scan is, the iodine absorbs it, and so you're able to visualize if there is an occlusion in the blood vessel in the heart, and that's what's used for strokes as well. Okay, so I just did a real quick run through of what this is all about, but as indicated by the discussion question, let's personalize this, talk about it, how you get exposed to in the workplace, but also as it has happened for you in your family, or maybe individually, like Christine has talked about. I'm going to show you a quick trick. You think I'm here alone? Well, I'm not. Look who's behind me. It's Maple. She's my counterpart. She always wants to be around Alpha Dog. Okay, so let's have another great discussion. This is wonderful, and thank you guys for participating.